Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Spider-Man No Way Home breaks the multiverse as savagely as it does our hearts, with so many questions remaining in the final minutes. But spoiler warning before I continue, because I am about to go deep into this movie's big twists, along with all the key stuff that happens in the final minutes of the film. Seriously, spoilers ahead. Okay, everyone out of the room, great. Holy shit, I gotta get this off my chest. Tobey and Andrew, Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, attorney at law, Aunt May. Other villains coming through the cracks in reality, who are they? And now no one remembers Peter. He's got a new suit. Eddie Brock doesn't wipe. And to top off all of those crazy thoughts deafening my brain while other bullies outside the AMC were like, hey, where was Mephisto? We got a freaking trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I am gonna break that down, but first we gotta recap what just happened. And you can celebrate Spider-Man No Way Home by checking out our awesome merch at newrockstarsmerch.com. We have an amazing new limited edition shirt called Strange Entanglement, as well as a Kingpin inspired Long Live the King shirt. You can get these both at newrockstarsmerch.com. Okay, so in Spider-Man No Way Home, during Doctor Strange's spell to make people forget that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, but Peter keeps making his various exceptions for his friends and loved ones, and then everything goes to hell and Peter yells out, basically everyone who knew that I was Spider-Man before should still know. And that is the key line that provides the logic by which alternate universe characters are now warped into this reality. Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, the Lizard, Electro, they all knew who Spider-Man was. But later we learn this also includes the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire variants of Peter Parker. I knew they were gonna be in this movie, but I still can't believe it. But we should say, technically speaking, people who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man should also include Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane, both Harry Osborns, those people on the train in Spider-Man 2, Captain Stacy, and a whole bunch of people at Oscorp and the Garfield continuity, but I guess those actors didn't get the coal. But we do get to see Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock in the first post-credit scene. I didn't think that he knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man before the warp. However, the Venom symbiote probably did, since he had just been talking about his symbiote multiversal hive mind right before that warp. Okay, so anyway, Peter disagrees with Doctor Strange that the villains need to be doomed back to their deaths, so he listens to Aunt May and he tries to redeem and fix these villains. However, Green Goblin betrays him, leading to Aunt May's death, but not before she croaks, with great power, there must also be great responsibility, and there must also be a slight rewording of the classic line. Ned uses Strange's sling ring to open a portal to see Peter Parker, and just by making that wish, he finds other Peters who have warped into this reality, including Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and then Tobey Maguire, Youth Pastor Spider-Man. The banter among these two and with Peter, it's just an amazing part of the film. I'm gonna go into it in future videos, but these three nerds team up, they science the shit out of it, and one by one they fix their broken toys, and all agree how gross it is that Tobey's webbing comes out of his body. But during the battle on Statue of Liberty, Goblin bombs the Machina Dichotomus box, and that causes the spell to spill out around Liberty Island, and several glowing figures appear in the sky through the cracks. It's hard to tell who, but they looked like other Spidey villains. Like there was definitely one glowing outline of the Rhino. I assume Morbius was up there creeping down at us. But then as the battle wages on, Peter almost kills Goblin on the ruins of Cap's shield by restaging Cap's near beheading of Iron Man in Civil War, almost going full John Walker there, but Tobey Peter catches that Goblin glider and gives Tom Holland Peter a chance to avoid blood being on his hands. Instead, they hit Osborn with some anti-serum, so he comes to Spider Jesus. Strange completes the memory wipe spell and everyone glows back home, but at the cost of everyone in this reality forgetting that Peter is Spider-Man. That includes Ned and MJ, who don't know who Peter is. Happy Hogan doesn't know who he is. He only knows that he knew Aunt May through Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson no longer knows. Anyone who found out from Mysterio's broadcast no longer knows. They only know that there's a Spider-Man in this universe. Peter Parker is a nobody. However, MJ still wears Peter's Black Dahlia necklace. And as he visits her in her donut shop, he's just happy that MJ and Ned got into MIT. And that means that MIT Vice Chancellor likely already put in a good word for MJ and Ned, but there must be no record of Peter Parker being Spider-Man, being part of their original rejection, existing anywhere. So Peter moves into an apartment that cruelly does not have a Russian landlord screaming,
"Give me rent."
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
And then he swings in a new suit with brighter blues past the 30 Rock ice rink, so we'll be sure to keep an eye out for him in the Hawkeye finale. So the first post-credit scene shows Tom Hardy Eddie Brock, fresh from his reality warp into the MCU in the Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene at a bar in Mexico, learning all about how the MCU is filled with superheroes. They talk about Iron Man and Hulk, Thanos, the Blip. He plans to go to New York to talk to Spider-Man, but then he glows and fades back into his Venomverse. But he leaves one little smudge of Venom goo behind. And that goo takes one baby step toward infecting someone in the MCU. I'm wondering if it could be Flash Thompson, who does become a version of Venom in the comics. Now again, they would have had to know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man in order to have warped into the MCU to begin with, which is why that one line in the Carnage post-credits scene was so important.
80 billion light years of hive knowledge across universes would explode your tiny little brain.
Hive knowledge across universes, and then the warp happened right after that. Therefore, among that multiversal hive knowledge was one universe where Venom knew that Peter was Spider-Man. Maybe even this symbiote chunk that's now in the MCU, since multiversal figures were warped in from various points in time being a flat circle. But let us now move on to this trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It is creepy as hell. Actually, forget the simile. This might actually just be hell. The trailer opens on the steps of Carmartage as autumn leaves float past and candles flicker out. We hear dialogue from earlier in No Way Home, Wang's debate with Strange over the spell, when Wang says, "It's too dangerous." And it's Strange chides Peter, saying, "We tampered with the stability of space-time. The multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little." Now, interestingly, No Way Home confirmed that Wang now holds the rank of Sorcerer Supreme on the technicality that Strange was blipped for 5 years. An apparent retcon of the endgame script that listed Wang among the snap victims. I guess that would explain why Wang was the one who presided over the Avengers and Shang-Chi, and suggests that Strange might be a bit more vulnerable than we thought. Then there's a close-up of Strange's broken watch, which in the 2016 Doctor Strange film symbolized Strange's own unhealable wound of his hands, which initially led his pursuit of the mystic arts, and something that he eventually let go of as he put his soul over his body. Strange's face is reflected in that watch's broken face, broken glass now kind of symbolizing a shattered reality in the MCU and reflecting how this Strange exists in a broken reality, broken from his own actions. Then we hear the voice of Mordo saying, "Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished." Remember, Mordo was salty over the way the Ancient One flirted with dark dimension magic.
She taught us it was forbidden, while she drew on its power to steal centuries of life.
She did what she thought was right.
The bill comes due.
An anger that he carried on into the post-credit scene.
Too many sorcerers.
Then Strange goes through a snowy gate to realize the Gothic steeple of a skyscraper is detached from its building as various other buildings seem to melt up into the sky. The visuals actually look like live-action versions of what we saw in What If Episode 4, when that universe's Doctor Strange tried to bypass an absolute point in time and caused all of reality to melt into inky nothingness. Something similar may have happened in the live-action MCU, perhaps Doctor Strange's initial spell in the way it caused the multiversal anomalies, or maybe in the way they fixed that crisis by sending home redeemed villains and therefore altering those timelines so those people would not die when maybe those people were supposed to. But we hear Strange say it was the only way, which recalls when he told Tony Stark after the snap in Infinity War,
"There was no other way."
So the bill coming due for Strange may also have been his inspiring Tony Stark that there was one path to victory over Thanos that allowed Tony to kill Thanos in Endgame, but that path also needed the Avengers and Loki to meddle with the time stream, and in doing so, perhaps breaking various absolute points in time that were fated. Really, folks, being able to find and decode all this stuff for you is such a great holiday gift for me. But if you want to give a great holiday gift to someone else that's gonna blow them away, give them a gift of a title from Established Titles while referring to them as a lord or lady. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. They let people buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so that they can call themselves a lord or lady, and in return, Established Titles commits to planting a tree. It's a really fun way to help preserve the beautiful woodlands and biodiversity of Scotland while raising funds to support global conservation efforts. Established Titles works with global charity Trees for the Future and One Tree Planted to help them plant a tree for every order. Plus, for those with Scottish heritage, it's a great way to connect to your family roots. So here's a title. Your title packs give you a numbered plot of dedicated land on a private estate in Ardally, Aberdeenshire, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. With this certificate, you could officially change your name to Lord or Lady and get it on a credit card or plane ticket. At this point, we're only a few days away from Christmas, and if you still don't have your gift ready or if it's stuck in transit, Established Titles is the perfect option. They are running a holiday sale right now, and you can use our code NRS10 to get an additional 10% off. So go to establishedtitles.com/NRS10 to get your gifts now. But then Strange ascends the sanctum stairs as you can see stormy seawater flooding the floor, and his voiceover says, "I never meant for any of this to happen." Then a shot of Wanda Maximoff with an orb of red chaos magic in her hand. Then we see Christine Palmer on her wedding day walking down the aisle as Strange watches from the pews with Dr. Nick West. Steve should be on the altar. Strange and Christine left things platonically in the 2016 film, but the What If episode cast them as doomed star-crossed lovers. Perhaps Christine met someone new during the blip and Strange now feels like the right one got away. Then a scary crow, followed by a woman in a star jacket. This is America Chavez, aka Miss America, played by Xochitl Gomez. She comes from the Utopian Parallel. She's a badass who kicks portals through dimensions as she's looking for her moms that are basically disintegrated particles that are part of the multiverse now. Then we see Wang looking bloody and wounded, followed by a shot of Strange screaming, falling through a prismy portal. But then we pivot as we glide across an estate that's covered with an orchard of white blossoming trees. I want to say dogwoods, not a florist though. Wanda is there trimming the flowers, and she tells Strange, "I made mistakes and people were," but Strange cuts her off. "I'm not here to talk about Westview." And then she says, "What are you here for?" He says, "We need your help." With what? What do you know about the multiverse? When we last saw Wanda Maximoff, she was leaving Westview behind in the WandaVision final episode, having dropped her hex that trapped Westview's residents under her sitcom-inspired brainwash, leaving all of them pissed off. So this newly empowered Scarlet Witch exiled herself in a remote mountain cabin where she used astral projection to search the Darkhold for a reality where her children still exist. And in this moment, we heard the Doctor Strange theme music as Wanda heard her kids crying out for her. So yes, this clarifies that Strange does know about Westview. And remember, the WandaVision producers said that a Doctor Strange cameo was at least planned for the show, and that the commercials we saw in each episode were intended to be messages from Doctor Strange, thus the Ask Your Doctor reference. But this estate looks far away from that mountain cabin. Maybe Wanda is moving place to place, or given the order and perfection of those trees and Strange's curious reaction to the setting, maybe this is another pocket reality of Wanda's creation, one where she can truly be alone. Then we see a hatch opening, like a hatch that you'd see on a ship, but it opens to this fantastical setting that Strange looks out upon from a chunk of brick wall. Behind him are Wanda and America Chavez. This setting might actually be the Utopian Parallel where America comes from. Then we see Mordo, his hair grown out in dreadlocks, and he tells Strange, "I'm sorry, Stephen, I hope you understand." And Kamar-Taj gets overtaken with a foreboding cloud. Darkness descends upon Strange and Wong. It's not clear how much of a villain Mordo will be in the story. He is traditionally an antagonist to Doctor Strange, and we know he disagrees with their philosophy about using magic, but I doubt he will be the ultimate villain of the story. Then we see the Scarlet Witch hosting a seance in a ring of candles, floating in her true Scarlet Witch outfit that she made for herself after powering up, absorbing Agatha Harkness's power in WandaVision. We don't know exactly what Wanda's role will be in the story, if she may end up being a kind of villain, but we are keeping an eye out for any parallels with the House of M storyline, which is the big Scarlet Witch storyline in the comics, where she resets reality chaotically, trying to find a reality where her children exist. And the storyline ends with her declaring no more mutants, erasing a lot of mutants from reality. And we think in the MCU, we may see a kind of reversal of that, where she says something like, "Let there be mutants," and mutants now exist in this reality so she can have her brother and her kids back. Strange and Mordo duel, explosions tear through the Kamar-Taj courtyard, Wong rises to his feet, and then Strange conjures an array of red orbs from the sanctum floor. These look a lot like the orbs that Wanda conjured in the WandaVision post-credits scene, and with those tethers connecting them all, this may be a depiction of interconnected worlds in the multiverse. Then Strange faces this huge tentacled monster in the street. Many of us believe that we'd be seeing Shuma Gorath in this movie, but this is actually the sea monster of Gargantos, according to leaks of Lego sets. Gargantos is an old school Namor villain, and he may have actually come in with that flooding water through the sanctum floor. It just sounds like this is gonna be a big monster movie, and Doctor Strange is gonna have to deal with a lot of interdimensional beasts. Gargantos throws a bus at Strange with an ad for Cafe La Llave Espresso, unlock a better day. Maybe the joke being that this threat to Strange is just something he has to face for breakfast every day. He uses a spell to slice the bus in half, protecting himself and America Chavez. Hope no one was on that bus, you just pulled a Cersei, my friend. And then as Mordo says, the greatest threat to our universe is you, Strange finds himself in this alternate sanctum, sick gothic decor, harp, piano. That's my man cave. All looks out on a swirling cloud. Strange meets an alternate version of himself, a darker, sexier variant who smiles and says things just got out of hand. Now, my first assumption was that this could be Strange Supreme, whom we last saw in the What If finale, locked in a pocket dimension, overseeing an inner pocket dimension at the behest of the Watcher to keep Killmonger Infinity and Zola Ultron locked in an eternal tug of war over the Infinity Stones. But I'm not sure this is Strange Supreme, just because this guy's got a different abode. He seems far more devilish than Strange Supreme ended up being. Strange Supreme was just more driven by love and desperation for power to break an absolute point. But for love, this guy seems more evil. But also notice the other Strange, specifically his eye. Bully Maguire just put some dirt in that eye, a purple color. So this might not actually be the same variant we started with. We could be seeing a lot of Doctor Stranges. This one could be imbued with power from the dark dimension, the same kind of magic Agatha Harkness might have been channeling. Ultimately, I think what this tells us is that Multiverse of Madness is gonna be a story with a ton of Doctor Stranges, similar to what we saw in Loki, which is really a show about the various Loki variants. Doctor Strange could end up having to face his many alternate selves, each of whom were born out of the times he violated fate. In the 2016 Doctor Strange, in Infinity War, in Endgame, and in No Way Home, there could be as many as 14,605 Doctor Stranges he has to deal with, except each of these variants are all master sorcerers who can each change the fabric of reality in their own way. So that could be why Doctor Strange needs these other Nexus beings, the Scarlet Witch, America Chavez, and who knows, maybe Loki and Sylvie too. All of these sorcerers to help pay the bill that has now come due. My full scene-by-scene breakdown of all the Easter eggs you missed in Spider-Man No Way Home is coming tomorrow, followed by several days of videos about other questions you might have had about this film. So to support our channel, check out one of our great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything Marvel. Thanks for watching. Bye.